Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are. Ooh, that was bad. Let me try that one more time. Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well, Ben. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I got a lot. You don't got a lot.
I don't.
We will be talking about the Oscar nominations, a couple of movies, and of course, episode 3 of The Last of Us. But before we get things started, let's roll.
All right, let's see how good this podcast is going to be on my end.
It's probably pretty good. You've had an okay luck.
A 12. Okay.
Okay.
Solid. Is that a 19? That's a 19, my friend.
Okay.
Your losing streak's over.
All right. That's probably the highest that we've rolled this year.
Lowest rated episode of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of all over the place. I have a lot of stuff, but none of them, like, I'm so passionate that I need to say everything, right. But rapid fire.
We'll do a rapid fire Ben round, yeah.
Okay. Well, to start off, I just saw a little weird thing. So Michael Jackson, heard of him? You know that guy?
Yeah, I think I've heard.
Familiar?
Famous director, right?
Yes, and he wrote the song "Eat It."
Got it. Okay.
So
that he stole from Weird Al.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was a huge thief, just constantly. He stole from everyone. No one ever took from him. Yeah,
of course. Got it.
So when Michael Jackson was born on whatever, you'll be able to tell I didn't do any research on this. It was just a little comment somewhere. So he was born on this day, and he died on this day. The exact middle point of his life to the day was the day he got lit on fire doing that Pepsi commercial. Isn't that kind of weird?
No.
You don't think that's kind of weird? You know he got lit on fire during a Pepsi commercial, right?
Maybe it slightly jogs my memory. I don't.
He was filming a commercial, and there was pyrotechnics, and it went off.
And in his hair, right? And
his hair caught on fire.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And it was like kind of the start of him getting plastic surgery to help with the scars, and then it kind of snowballed from there. But you don't find that odd that this big life-changing thing to the day, right in the middle of his life? I think that's just so strange.
I think for normies like if my hair caught on fire and then from that day forward I changed my entire look and personality or whatever, I think it'd be a coincidence that it would just be like the halfway point to my life. Then I'd be like, oh, that's pretty weird. But to be the Michael Jackson, where every day could theoretically be a big moment in his life, to be it's just another thing. I feel like if I was Michael Jackson,
he's had plenty of big things, sure, but I would say if this was Family Feud and you had the top 5 moments of Michael Jackson's life, getting lit on fire would be probably number 2. I think it's one of his most well-known things, besides, being famous and talented and...
I mean, I've never really accused you of being going down the rabbit hole guy, but whatever YouTube videos you're watching, stop it.
I think it was just like a Reddit post about this was the image, the moment before he got lit on fire. It was like the final image of him.
If you told me, after he died, 3 days later, he came back as a zombie, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, because he was a zombie in Thriller. I mean, 3 days later, maybe he is Christ come again. And
but that's
and that's how he could moonwalk, because he's from another ethereal plane. I could maybe get into that then.
Physics, that's supernatural stuff. But this is just
life, hey, that death, accident.
The thing that kind of changed who he was for the rest of his life was the exact middle point. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Apparently not.
No, that's
let's move on.
Hard pass.
Then. Okay. Well, I'll start with a random movie I watched. You may have actually even seen this. It's called The Night Comes For Us. It's a martial arts film from Taiwan.
Yeah. Night Comes For Us is awesome.
And I want to thank Nando V Movies. It was on one of his podcasts that he said he just watched it randomly, and he said it was the bloodiest movie he had ever seen in his life. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see about that, because I've seen Dead Alive, and that is the bloodiest movie. This is a pretty bloody movie. It's pretty gnarly. If there's never a Raid 3, watch this. This is a
Yeah.
good enough raid 3. Of course, people are taking hails of gunfire and being not fine, but walking away from it
Sure.
to take down more guys, and then finally fall in another hail of gunfire. It's really unbelievable. And the story is pretty boring. It's actually kind of a shit story.
Yeah, you don't watch this movie for the story. You just watch it for the action.
You watch it for a guy getting his head through a window, neck slammed onto the shards, and then rubbed against the railing. You watch it for that. You watch it for a woman getting a razor wire wrapped around her neck and then tied to an air conditioning unit and kicked out a window. There's a lot of like really fun set pieces. I don't think the martial arts aren't nearly as interesting as the raid. But it's a little more efficient where it's like disarm, break a leg, disarm, stab in the neck. You know, there's not these long drawn out scenes. It's just being efficient and take these guys out. But I really had a good time watching it. Just bloody, disgusting, and a lot of cool deaths. But the story pisses me off just because the main guy's, hey, I've been working my ways up the ranks and I'm on the highest council there is, and I've killed thousands of children and hundreds of villages, and I just let it roll off my back. But I saw this one insignificant girl, and I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to kill all my men. I'm going to try to get her free. I'm going to get all my friends killed and myself killed for this one girl. And that's a good moral thing to do, absolutely. But when he's gone this far, he's been doing it for like 5 years.
What's another body?
What's another body? Especially when you bring your problems home and get everybody you love killed. So, yeah, nice, noble thing, but you're also kind of an asshole. But it's on Netflix. Good, bloody, martial art, good time. Yeah. Let's see, since I have a bit more.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll do a twofer. I watched 2 alligator movies.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I should say I watched 2 crocodile movies.
Okay.
I needed something. I put on Tubi, and
I'm guessing not Crawl, because you've seen Crawl.
No, it's not Crawl. The first one is called Croc with an exclamation point. It was made in 2022, so I thought, okay, cool, more modern, better effects. I should have checked maybe an IMDb score before I watched it, but it was only like 86 minutes long, so I knew it wasn't going to be that bad. But it was pretty bad, and I even had to fast forward towards the end to like, let's get this done. Because the premise is ridiculous. It's a couple getting married, and they have their friends there and their family, and it's like the English countryside, and there's a crocodile. And they bring it up multiple times, like, there are no crocodiles in Europe. You know, the climate is too fucking cold for them. They wouldn't exist. How can this happen? I don't know. Let's move on. They never answer. It's just there.
Okay. Now, wait, is this like an American couple getting married in England?
Nope.
This is all British cast.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, maybe I think that a few of them are, but I'm pretty sure they're all British. Yeah, it's a real dumb story that you don't have to even get into. Pretty much like, hey, a crocodile ate one of us, and now it's going to eat all of us. But I think there's one point I want to bring up. They're having the wedding, and all of a sudden the priest is just like, oh my God, and here comes the crocodile walking down the aisle ready to eat them all. And so it starts attacking, and then... And it's a really bad like CG model. I mean, I guess it's fine enough, but they only have so many animations, so you kind of see it over and over again. And I think they animated the crocodile doing 2 different things, and they weren't sure what scene was better. And they're like, well, we kind of want him over by the altar because then he can kill the flower girl. But we need him over by the gazebo because that's where the heroes are. But we already shot all this. We got to use this footage. So at one point, someone's just like, oh my God, now there's 2 of them. And so it cuts to one and cuts to the other. And then they run off. And then it's never mentioned again. They never say, where are they? It's always, where is it? Or I saw it going down the hallway. So it was like, we have to use this one shot. So we'll just ADR in this one line.
These crocodiles and their pronouns.
Yeah.
Is it 2 it's? I don't know.
And they only kill one at the end, and it's not like, oh, but we forgot about the other. It's not like a Lake Placid where it's a surprise second, alligator. Yeah, really bad. But then, so I was I was saddened that that wasn't very good. So the next night I watched another one called Eaten Alive. It was made in
Better title.
70, 76, 78, somewhere. Yeah, somewhere in there. It was the movie that Toby Hooper made after Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
So it's a little bit better story. There's a crazy man who has a house with a little moat around it where he has his crocodile, and it's a hotel. A hotel and a zoo. He has like one monkey in a cage and then the crocodile. There's a local whorehouse that the dude who played Freddy Krueger tries to take advantage of this one girl.
Robert England.
Robert Englund. And of course, it's the creepy guy's son. That's Robert Englund. And so they kick the whore out of the whorehouse because she wouldn't do what he said. And she goes to the crazy guy, and he finds out, oh, you're one of old Bessie's whores. I can't have that, and feeds her to the crocodile. And then just more
Is
and more.
this set in Florida, by the way? Does it say where it's set? Not that it really matters.
I'm pretty sure they do. It is swampy looking, so I would assume the South somewhere. And then more people show up, like the girl that just was killed, her father and sister, because she ran away from home, and other people who are just like stopping on the road because they're tired, they need a room, and they all start getting like killed off one by one. And it could be a pretty interesting movie, I think, handled a little better, because the crazy guy, you don't get any good motivation of why he's crazy. It's just like, I hate whores, but I'm going to take this one woman and chain her to my bed, in her bra and underwear, and put duct tape over her eyes. It's like, okay, well, either feed them to the alligator or don't. But like, if you hate whores, it's almost like you're trapping one because you want your own personal one, but you hate it. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think if it was fleshed out, it would be a more interesting story. But the crocodile looks pretty good. The deaths are pretty interesting. Pretty solid practical effects for something this old. And they mention it like twice, but they go, hey, Old Man Jenkins, how he has that alligator in there? It's not an alligator. It's a crocodile. And they say it twice. Like, okay, why even bring this up? Don't say, like, that alligator? It's a crocodile. Like, oh, that ostrich? It's an emu. Don't call it an ostrich then. It's weird. It's like the people have only heard of the one word and they didn't know there's two. It was bizarre, but not bad. Of course, he gets his comeuppance and gets eaten, but so does everyone.
So dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Eaten Alive. Not bad. But there's, for a follow-up to Texas Chainsaw, I was expecting something a little better. That seemed very real. Looked like it was shot on a location. This definitely looks like a set. And some of the actors are hamming it up. It's not very believable. But
did he ever do anything good after Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Poltergeist.
Oh, okay.
But there's a rumor that it was more Steven Spielberg directed that than he did. And he even did another crocodile movie later. I think it may just be called Crocodile, or maybe it's Alligator. I don't know. Maybe he was switching it up. But he
had that a crocodile? It's an alligator.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he hasn't really had like the greatest filmography.
Sure.
But you go like, oh, the guy who made Texas Chainsaw. Oh yeah, I know who that is. What a great director. Well, is he really? But what about you, Steve?
So I watched a movie that I don't believe I've mentioned on this podcast before, but it was in one of my top 10 movies of the year it came out. My wife had never seen it, and it only had like 2 weeks left on Netflix or whatever it was. And so I was just like, oh, that movie's really cute. Let's watch it. I think you'll like it. I watched Sing Street. Sing Street is essentially about an Irish boy who meets a girl and wants to form a band to impress her. And it is just a sweet, adorable movie about like finding out who you are and kind of finding your people, because he like gets this ragtag group of like kind of losers at his school, and they just write songs together and form this band called Sing Street, because Sing Street's the area in which they live.
Is it a musical? They're breaking out into song, or is it just a movie that has music in it?
It's just a movie. There's one sequence that is like a musical, but it's kind of just more of a dream sequence. Like if because they shoot a lot of music videos. This movie's set in the 80s. So like all the music videos they're making like look terrible, but it's not really about like looking good. It's about like, can we like write decent songs so I can like show this to a record producer or whatever and go like, look, I have vision and talent and you know, we want to make something of ourselves. And it's not like they're like 18 years old. They're, I think, 15 and 16, and they look the age. They're not, you know, the CW stuff of like we're gonna hire 30-year-olds to play high schoolers.
Yeah.
Like everyone looks age appropriate.
Nice.
But all the songs are great. The director did a movie, I think it was called Begin Again, with like Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo, also really cute and about music. But this movie was nominated for an Oscar, I think, for Best Original Song. It didn't win, which is a shame. But if you want like a cute little date movie, I highly recommend Sing Street. It kind of captures, I think, what a lot of that youthful energy of like when I was a kid. It's like you always dream of being in a band and like getting girls and stuff. It's just like a cool thing to do. But I lacked any musical talent, so it wasn't in the cards for me. But to like have a passion and dream and, you know, having struggles at home and like wanting to get rid of that and like put that into your music, it's all just a great fun little movie. And
I thought that was a Netflix made movie.
Nope. It came to theaters. Not many people saw it because there was no one famous. The most famous person in it is Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
He plays the main character's dad.
Does he not believe in his son and says like, you got to get a real hobby, not this stupid stuff. There's no future in music, son.
No, he's not that inherently against his son's dream. That's more like his dad and his mom are going through a divorce, and that's kind of more of a background thing. But like there's a part early in the film where him and his brother's kind of like his guiding light to the movie. He's kind of like the background heart of the movie, because his brother's just like, this is what real music's about, and, you know, gives him like homework. It's just like, you need to listen to this. So it's like, oh, you want something that feels happy sad? This band is happy sad. Listen to this. This is what that chick's going to be into, and like guides him into his forming his musical sound. But his dad, like they're watching a music video in the 80s, and he's just like, at the time, like music videos were like a new thing. It's like, what is this? They're not even singing live. It's like, they're not supposed to sing live, Dad. Like, this is a music video. It's like, why are they dressed like that? That's not how, like, they look like women. It's like, well, that guy's like one of the most, girls everywhere want to be with that guy. Like, he's the hottest guy on the planet right now. And it's just like
very confusing for dads in their 50s to have kids growing up in the 80s and just be like, this is not my time.
Yeah, so it's more like he's like, he doesn't care that he's doing music. It's just he's just not even really paying attention to his son doing music. It's like, I don't get that. But it's not like, hey, don't do that, go get a job in a coal mine or anything like that. The parents really are just background noise to the main story. The real story is just this boy meets girl, and how do I get this girl to like me? And the girl's from like has her own sort of troubles and all that kind of stuff. But it's all, the whole movie's like, how do I impress the girl, really?
Okay. Does he get the girl?
Spoilers, he does.
Okay, of course.
Oh, and this is just a side note personally for me. He owns this like tiny little boat that fits like 2 people comfortably, but you could probably get like 4 people on there. And it's just like the cutest little boat. And ever since I saw that movie, I was just like, I want this thing. It's like bigger than those like just, you know, your classic boats that you see in movies where like dudes are just fishing off the side.
Sure.
Bigger than that, but smaller than like those swamp boats that have the big fan.
Okay.
But it like has this cute little captain's wheel. What do you call that? Ship's wheel.
Yeah, it's not a steering wheel.
Yeah.
Rudder?
I don't know. No, rudder's in the back. Doesn't matter.
But you control the rudder.
Anyway, watch the movie. You'll know what little boat I'm talking about. And it just seemed like, I bet that boat at that time cost like $200. And it's like, I just want that, to be able to like take me and maybe 3 other people tops and just go out in the water. It doesn't have to, but it's just, and big enough to where like I can go like kind of below, but not like, you just not like fit in a bed. It's just like, oh, but you could store stuff down there.
Okay. That's bigger than I expected. Okay.
I'm probably not describing it in a proper way, but
I guess I'll have to watch the movie to see a cute little boat.
But yeah, if you want cute movie with great original songs. This is a great choice.
Okay. I'm reading a new book. I'm actually reading something you've already talked about on the show.
Oh,
So you brought up Robin Hobb a lot,
okay.
and so I checked my uh, my app that I use to get free audiobooks, and there was only like one series on there available.
Okay.
Everything else was not. So it was the Assassin's Apprentice.
That's the one to start with.
Yeah.
Because if you jump in, I mean, I guess you could jump into Ship of Magic and all that. But I think all Ship of Magic is its own separate thing
Mm-hmm.
in the same world. All the other stories I think are pretty. I could be wrong about this, but are pretty much connected to that storyline.
Okay. Well, I'm not very far. I'm only on like the third chapter. Like his dog was just killed.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's kind of taken a long time to get going. Are you with him as a kid for a long time?
By the end of book 3, he's I think 19.
Okay.
Like he's little for the. I think by the end of book 1, he's like 10, maybe.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that.
I assumed like it would be this because he's saying like back when I remember this and that. I figured it'd be like, well, now I'm a strapping young lad, and now let's get on with the story.
No, it's I didn't think you'd pick up this book, and I'm not even sure if I would recommend this to you. It's just
Okay.
I love it. But yeah, this is it's a slow burn book,
Mm-hmm.
but I think all the characters are great, and how the story like plays out is great. But there is like large chunks of just kind of not action things happening. It's just character building moments.
Okay. I mean, I got it for 2 weeks. I'll give it a shot. But if I don't, I may drop it. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's not really what I want to talk about.
I think book 2 and 3 are better. Book 1 is
Okay.
a lot of setup, but I think book 1's satisfying.
I am playing a game right now, but I'm not done with it. Man, I'm playing Evil West, and fuck, that game is hard. It's harder than I expected it to be. And there's.
Are you playing on easy or are you playing on normal?
On regular.
Okay.
It's a lot of arena fights, and so you'll hop in, and there's this big bat monster. Okay, cool. You find the pattern. I can handle this. And then, okay, he's halfway dead. Now let's send in 50, and it could be like 25, 30 total guys just flooding at you. Just these normal guys. But, these ones, when they touch you, they explode. And these other ones, they like to stand on the opposite side of the arena and just lob bouncing bombs at you. And so the arena can be so chaotic. There's only maybe 2 times I've jumped into like a bigger boss arena and beat it without dying. I die so often. I have to redo these things over and over and over again. And it gets really frustrating.
Is there a lot of like, when you started, is there like 30 seconds of dialogue you have to get through or anything like that?
That's only
like
really happened one
Okay.
time. Every other time it's kind of like you're right outside the arena, you hop the fence, and boom, it's time to go. But some of them were like, this elevator's not working. Here, let me fix it. The elevator drops, and it's like, come on, let's get to the fight. So there's some tough shit in it, and I can see people complaining about it not being open world, but I'm fine with it because it's only like small little nooks you go down to get some treasure. Maybe you got to climb up this thing. But the problem is both ways always look like the way you're supposed to go. So I go one way and go, no, that's wrong. Go back the other way. No, that was wrong. Go back the first way. Oh shit, that was wrong, and now I've gone too far and I can't go back. Fuck. So that happens. You have to be careful what you're doing. But there's a lot of different move sets, and one of the things I think is kind of fun is you could spend your skill points on these moves and your money on your weapon upgrades. But if you decided, I don't like that, you can reset it. You get all your skill points back, all your money back, and you could redistribute it any way you want. And you could do it whenever you want. The only problem is you have to do it all. I want to just like, okay, I don't like this one move I picked. Let me unsocket this one. No. You got to reset the whole thing and hope you remember which ones you picked. So that's kind of annoying, and I hope they fix that later. But it's nice because there are some moves where you want to knock guys in the air and kill them because, if I kill them in the air, they'll drop health. But then there's this other move, it does a lot of damage, but once guys go in the air, you slam them to the ground. Well, now I can't get the health by doing that. So how do you want to play?
Right.
I'm having a good time. It's a little, I don't know. It's a little cheesy. Everybody's kind of super tough, and It's a little edgy at times.
Mm.
And all the monsters are really great looking, just horrific, bulbous looking. You think I'm going to fight a vampire or a werewolf. And it's like, no, this is like part B, part werewolf. And it's awful looking, but it's amazing. But speaking of looks, I like playing the outside daytime levels more than anything else because it'll be, oh, you're in this forest and it's on fire and all the villains are red and the health pickups are red. Is the fire on the ground? Is that actual fire that hurts me, or is it just background effects? And my character is wearing black and red, and sometimes it's just like, fuck, everything is monochromatic. But when you're fighting outside, it's bright, everything's well lit, it looks a little bit better. So some of that, it could just be chaotic of bombs dropping and your health, and your shield isn't like a full shield that you can keep blocking. It's just a reversal shield, so you have to really be timing things. Yeah, it's fun. It's tough. I'll let you borrow as soon as I'm done with it.
Okay.
But,
it's about time you got a game that I could get from you versus me just buying all the cool ones, and you're like, let me get that when you're done.
Yeah. I didn't even really want to talk about that either. I picked up a new podcast, and I've been following these guys for a while on TikTok and Instagram because they cut up little bits of their podcast.
Sure.
And they're always pretty funny. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Are You Garbage?
Can't say that I have.
Okay. It's two guys. I can't remember. Foley and JC, something like that.
Those are names.
Those are names. And they get a lot of comedians on, especially low name or no name comedians, because they're still starting out. They're actually doing pretty good. They have comedy shows, but their whole thing is kind of like you might be a redneck type of good type of humor. But
can I take a sidebar for a second?
Yeah.
What happened to those guys? I haven't seen Jeff Foxworthy in a decade.
I'm sure
I haven't
they
seen
are
Larry the
just
Cable
nice
Guy
and
in a
rich, and they
decade.
could,
I think I've seen Ron White do some podcasts recently.
Yeah.
But it's like those guys were like the four biggest names in comedy for like 3 years and then just disappeared.
And like before they were like 3 years for the mass public, it was like 8 years in the, their demographic.
Yeah.
Where they were huge. Because my dad was listening to Jeff Foxworthy before I had seen him on anything. Always thought the redneck jokes were so funny, but I was just a dumb kid, and what did I know? But anyway.
No, I mean, I remember enjoying the blue collar comedy. Like that was probably one of my first instances of like noticing what stand-up comedy was. It was like that and Dane Cook were like coming out at around the same time. Okay. And it's like, oh, so this is stand-up comedy. And like now you don't see any of those guys, including Dane Cook anymore.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of Larry the Cable Guy because I lived in Nebraska for a while, and when he was getting his start, he would be the guy that calls up on radio stations, and he was just a big personality. They kept like inviting him back, and that's kind
of the four, he was my least favorite.
Yeah, he's garbage. He's terrible.
Well, that's okay.
And I'm sure with all the money he made from the Cars movies, that was probably more than anything he made doing anything else. I'm sure he's just sitting pretty, and they're all just relaxing, drinking their moonshine or whatever, polishing their gun racks. But so Are You Garbage? It's two guys. They have their guest on, and they ask them just like series of questions. It's not like, oh, tell us about, your this movie you were in, or what was it like working with this director, or any of the like Hollywood shit.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, so was your family like a Coke or Pepsi family? Like, do you brush your teeth in the shower? All these sort of things to tell like, did you come from trash or have you become trash? And it's funny the things like people will reveal because they're not used to getting these sorts of questions. There's this one clip I saw where they're like, you eat the crust on your pizza? He's like, oh, see, this is what I do. I don't eat the crust. And I put it, or I would like put it in my next pizza and fold it over and eat it like a taco. Or you leave behind the crust in the box.
That's serial killer behavior.
You leave your crust behind in the box, and then everybody else leaves their crust behind. And then when they're gone, that's all the crust for you. And they're like, are you eating other people's pizza crust? Oh, yeah, you're fucking garbage. and so recently, David Cross, he's like kind of one of the bigger people that have been on the show. He came on, and it was fun seeing him just kind of like go, Is this what the show is? This is all it is? Like, what kind of pets did you have? What did your parents do for a living? What kind of car did you have? Or anyone ever interviewed for the news because of like a big car accident in your town. You know, it's just like a bunch of such obscure things. And then they determine at the end, it's just like, oh yeah, you are garbage or you aren't garbage. And it's all in good fun. All this stuff, it's on YouTube. It's pretty funny. I really recommend it. I haven't listened to a lot of the full episodes, just a lot of clips from highlights and stuff, but everything I've seen is pretty good. And then when they do their live shows, people will ask, they'll write in things like, if you know, is it garbage to have a professional tattoo artist at your wedding, like giving out free tattoos, you know, things like that. And then they'll riff on it for a bit. I think you would enjoy it.
I wonder how much you'd have to pay someone to do tattoos. Like, would it be by the tattoo or is it a flat rate?
It's, hey, I'll work per hour. It's going to be $500 an hour. I'll do whatever I want with whoever. Sense. So, but I would think you would have to have a bunch of them because you have one person doing a tattoo, and unless everybody's just getting tiny little hearts with the bride and groom's initials in it, I can't see people going like, oh yeah, I'm going to this wedding, I'm going to get my whole back tatted out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, Are You Garbage? Check it out.
Listening to the podcast, would you consider yourself garbage?
Let me get back to you.
Okay.
Let me do a few more and field some of my own answers. I'd say off the bat right now, no, but they do bring up things sometimes where it's like, oh shit, yeah, I've done that. Oh, crap. But I'd say no, I'm not garbage.
Sure. Anyway.
Anywho, you saw a movie?
I did see a movie. I saw Darren Aronofsky's The Whale.
I kept forgetting that it was a movie from him.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I definitely took away from it at the end. Is like, this is the first Aronofsky movie where I was just like, it doesn't feel like a Darren Aronofsky movie. Like, Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky.
DA. Yeah. DA, as I like to call him. He, all of his movies are pretty depressing, or have like depressing elements to them, and this definitely fits into that realm. So like story wise, sure, yeah, it's a DA film.
He's a visual guy as well,
but yeah, his movies are typically at least somewhat visual appealing. There's none of that here really, because the entire movie takes place in an apartment. There's like one slight flashback sequence where it's like at a beach, but that's essentially like 2 shots. But that being said, everyone's talking about this movie because of Brendan Fraser's performance. And he's good. And the makeup effects that make him look like this 600-pound man, also pretty great. There's some stuff in the face sometimes where I'm just like, I just know I'm looking at a fat suit. Yeah. But like there's a scene where he takes off like his clothes and you kind of see the full thing. It looks fantastic. Yeah. It's just like, and I think that's more just because like I know what Brendan Fraser looks like in real life. So seeing him in something that's clearly not him is like slightly takes me out of it a little bit, but by no means does it look bad. But he's good. I think I liked Colin Farrell's performance more.
Colin Farrell's in The Whale?
No, Colin Farrell's in Banshees of Inisherin. I'm talking about like, if we're talking Oscar rates, like everyone's saying like Brendan Fraser's the front runner, and that seems to be the case. But I just think, for me personally, I liked Colin's performance more. Because I feel like this movie wanted to be uplifting and it's like, look, this guy should be upset, and I mean clearly he is, but it's like he's always got this like sort of underlying positive attitude, but it never really feels like it hits the mark it wants it to in terms of just like, oh, this guy should be an inspiration, because despite all of his problems and his history and like why he is the way he is, it's like he still has a smile on his face, but it's like not really. He's putting a smile on his face for his daughter, played by Sadie Sink from Stranger Things. She's good in it as well.
I've heard she's like the most awful person.
But yes, every time she was on screen, it made me wish she wasn't there, which like I guess you could argue, well, she's playing her part, but the whole movie is just like Brendan Fraser trying to connect with his daughter, and his daughter is a D-bag like the entire time, and she's just like so mean to him and so cruel, and she does things to other people that are mean, and it's just like, and he's just trying to like, I guess, go, if I'm positive enough and help her with school homework, she can be the daughter I knew she could be. and I don't think we ever really quite get there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just horrible to watch. And every time she was on screen, I did not enjoy it, and I wanted her to leave every time. That being said, the star of this movie for me, I thought, was who should win the Oscar for supporting actress. I believe her name is Hong Chow. Yeah, Hong Chow. She plays Brendan Fraser's friend slash like caretaker nurse.
Mm.
She's fantastic. I loved her. I thought she was great. Just like her connection with him, and she's got like a really great scene with another character who kind of comes in, and just just tears throughout the whole movie. Like she was so good. Like give her the Oscar. Like if Brendan Gradit gets it, fine. But I don't. If she doesn't get it, I think she was robbed. The only other person in her category who I think like I'd be okay with winning is Stephanie Sue from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
She's also great. But Hong Chow, like knowing nothing about her and coming in this movie like somewhat blind, blew me away. I thought she was great. The only other thing I'll say is this is kind of a movie that I've said on here I really enjoy when you get like just a limited number of actors in a small contained space. Like if you can make a movie interesting in that regard, that's my kind of shit.
Because isn't it a stage play?
Yeah, well, the whole time I was like, man, this feels like this would be a stage play. And then at the very end credits, like, based on the play by this guy, I was like, oh, of course, I'm dumb. So, yeah, it's based on a stage play. And so, but the fact that they made a movie in a small apartment and made it engaging and watchable, that's where I give this movie credit for. It's not like the Darren Aronofsky even makes like interesting camera choices. It's like the camera's not flipping around or doing.
I'd say I think Black Swan and The Wrestler has some good camera stuff in it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like he's done interesting stuff. In this, he doesn't do any of that.
I thought you were saying he's not known for
no. I'm saying like I'm used to seeing him doing interesting stuff with the camera. Where there's nothing like that. It's all very stagnant or like slow camera pans in. It's not anything. It's very simple, and as it should be, I think, in terms of keeping everything in this apartment and not drawing away from the performances by trying to like over direct or anything like that. But I know there was like some controversy with this movie, but I don't know, I won't get into that because I didn't really look into it because I don't try. I try and keep that stuff separate from when I'm watching a movie.
Controversy, huh?
Yeah. We'll talk about it off air.
Okay.
But none of that hindered me. I enjoyed everyone in it. I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it would make my top 10 of last year, but it'd probably be in top 15. And also, an hour and 45, super tight, doesn't overstay its welcome. I was never bored. I never checked my watch. I think it's a perfectly great film that no one will ever see again.
You'll probably never rewatch it, would you say?
I'll rewatch it with my wife because she wanted to see it, but she couldn't make it. So if and when it comes to streaming, I'll happily watch it again.
Okay.
But yeah.
A lot of people say that about his movies, like, oh, I never need to see Black Swan again or The Wrestler, which is crazy. They're great movies. But the one I always hear is, I never need to see Requiem for a Dream again. And that's nuts. I've seen that movie like 15 times. It is so good. It's bleak, it's sad, it's awful, but it's such a well-made movie.
Yeah, Requiem for a Dream is fantastic. If you don't want to watch it again because you got like watching Schindler's List isn't something that's like, oh, you need to be in the right headspace for that kind of thing. I can see that you doing that for Requiem for a Dream. Black Swan and The Wrestler, I really, really liked both of those movies, but I haven't seen them since. So I think this will probably fall in that regard. I never saw The Fountain, so I can't really speak on The Fountain.
Yeah, that's one I saw once and went, I didn't like that.
And I didn't see Mother because I heard a lot of people didn't.
Good.
And I heard a lot of people didn't like it. It's divisive.
It's one of those, and it made me feel stupid because everyone said, oh my God, we get it. It's about the Bible and she's Mother Nature. And these are very obvious, what's the analogies for that? And I didn't catch on to that. I was just like, I don't know what's going on in this world. It's probably just a representation of her emotions or her mind or anything. I never got the Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel stuff. It went over my head. But
one final thing I forgot to mention. There's a couple scenes where he's eating.
I've heard.
And I don't think they're necessarily. I feel like that's one of the things I heard. Just like, yeah, there's parts where he's eating and it's just like really, really gross. And I don't think they're as gross as people made them out to be.
Yeah.
What makes the scene really like jarring for me, and not in like necessarily a negative way, it's like whenever he starts eating in a more than like a candy bar, like it's like he's really diving into a meal and
He's
just
binging.
he's binging, like this really dark music comes over it, and so it's just like it almost feels like you're watching like another movie, like it becomes a Fincher film all of a sudden
Okay.
because like he's just eating like a bucket of chicken, or he's like scarfing down a pizza, and then just like at this moment because the movie is not really, I don't think, music heavy,
Mhm.
but it's like whenever he like eats and he starts binging, like the music turns, and it's like it's like, oh, this is the music's telling you like this is him at his like his worst. This is him becoming the monster that he doesn't want to be, and it's really interesting choice. I don't think, I don't know if it's trying to make him appear gross, but it's never like, it's not zooming in on his mouth and you're just hearing like a
That's what I assumed.
yeah, it's not like overly disgusting, but it's clearly just like you see some like grease there and just like, and he's like kind of wheezing as he's eating and stuff. Like it's not an attractive feature,
Sure.
but by no means is it like overly gross and anything like that. But the music is something I wanted to point out. Like when he's eating, it is like a dark monster movie all of a sudden. It's really interesting.
Cool. Well, I saw two new movies. I saw Infinity Pool and Fear. Don't have much to say about either one of them.
Great. Give me a grade and we'll not talk about it.
Fear was bad. It was like we want to do like three different horror things at the same time, but they don't mesh well together, and we never focus on one more than the other.
Is Fear the one with the all black cast or mostly black?
Mostly black.
Okay,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, we want to do like this was a witch's coven lived here, but we also want to do like spectral monster ghost, but then we also want like your fears kill you, and it doesn't tie together very well. It was bad.
Right. I remember seeing a trailer, but I don't remember what happens in the trailer at all.
And there's a part in the beginning where like, this is going to be the weekend to remember. I think we all need to announce our fears so we can't let them hold us back. And they all just go around going like, yep, I'm afraid of blood. I'm afraid of drowning. I'm afraid of the cops. And it's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen to each of these people. It's very on the nose. Infinity Pool, I liked. Especially going in blind, I really didn't know what it was about. I gave this a B, I believe. Do you want to know anything of the plot?
Yeah, I probably won't watch it.
Okay.
So
I'll be real quick.
Okay, yeah.
So like Skarsgård is on vacation with his wife. He's a writer. He's has somewhat of a hit of a book, not like a small hit. She takes care of him because she's rich. They meet Mia Goth and her husband and just hit it off. Well, he accidentally hit someone in the road, and Mia Goth's like, we got to go. This country, it's a fake country. Like, we're not supposed to be off the resort. Like, the people are savages in this country. And if they find out that you killed someone, you're fucking toast. So they do find out. He gets brought in. And it's like, yep, you killed someone, and the punishment is death, and the son of the person that you killed is going to kill you. And he's just like, oh, fuck, like, what can I do? I'm like, well, we have this opportunity. You pay us a fuck ton of money, and we will make a double of you, and the person can kill your double. And so they just kind of have like almost instantaneous cloning, and he has to sit in the audience and watch this little boy stab himself up on stage. And so his wife's like, let's get out of here. But he can't find his passport. And so he starts hanging out with Mia Goth again. And she like jacks him off in the woods and stuff. But then...
Not important to the plot. I just wanted to let you know.
But she lets him know like, yeah, my husband at his company accidentally killed people here. And we had our doubles murdered. And all these people here in our little community... We've all committed crimes and have had our doubles killed. And now they kind of revel in it. And they can, as long as they have the money to pay for it, no one can tell them what to do, so they just kind of act like wild animals at this resort, and it doesn't matter if they go and kill this one person, because there's one time they like break into this guy's house, and a gun goes off and it kills them, and it cuts to them. They're all in the cell wearing the like prisoner garb and stuff, and they're just kind of like blasé about it, and the chief is just like, I'm going to make an example out of you, brings them up on a stage and like slits all their throats. And then you cut to the audience and they're all sitting there watching it. It's like a nice little fake out, and they're all just applauding and laughing and having a good time. So they just like, they're going nuts about this. And eventually they take it too far and it scares him. And, oh, are you the double? Or are you really? Yeah. It gets kind of a little weird and murky at the end. But it was a fun concept of just like, when you have the means to do anything, like you will be okay with letting someone else die for you, even if that person thinks he is you. There's some good stuff in it. I enjoyed it. But the thing I do want to recommend, my last thing before we get to Last of Us, is I watched the new Batman, Superman, DC animated movie on HBO. It's called Battle of the Super Sons. So it's about Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne having to team up to save their parents and the world. It's not a very original story. It's Starro has come, it's taken over the Justice League, it's spreading across the world. What are these two kids going to do? They don't like each other, but they got to work together and fight their two dads who are the best in the biz. How can they do that? You know, you've seen it before. Right. It's not super original. But the animation style is something I haven't seen them do. It's all like a cel-shaded CG. But it looks like hand-drawn at a lot of points. When people are just standing around talking, it looks a little silly. It'll have these kind of like weird whipping around camera movements that really show that this is CG. Right. But the action, man, it is beautiful. Great looking movie. Good voice cast. Just fun, and it's nice to see Jonathan Kent kind of like in the DC animated movie universe. It's good shit. I know you've watched a bunch of the other DC stuff. Yep. Haven't you not?
Not really, no.
Really? Oh man, some of the best DC stuff is their animated things, and a lot of them are connected. Like some of them, like this is this universe, this is another universe, this is kind of like off the animated series universe.
I mean, I'd happily watch a lot of them. It's just one of those things. Like, oh well, I can watch this, or I can watch like another movie that I'd really
a real movie.
I'm not saying a real movie, but yeah, it's
for someone who likes Batman. There's so much good Batman stories on there.
Yeah, I mean, Batman's their, bread and butter. But the thing I was interested in watching was Batman Ninja, and then I saw the trailer, and then I saw what you and Nick had to say about it. And I was like, oh, then I don't need to see it.
But it's like, that's the worst one.
Right. No, yeah, I know.
Coolest thing, but it is absolute garbage.
Cool idea, terrible execution.
But, like Gotham by Gaslight is pretty fun. I mean,
it's a good comic. I read that one.
They do like Hush, but then
good comic. I read that one.
Like Hush isn't who it is in the comics. They switch it up. So I can understand the disappointment in that, but it's like, well, you already know that story. Let's make it a little different. So sometimes they take liberties on things. Sometimes they're a little more exact. But like Crisis on Two Earths, Flashpoint. I mean, you would love Flashpoint.
I think I have seen Flashpoint.
Okay. Yeah, there's some really excellent ones, and I would recommend this one.
Okay. Maybe I'll have a DC animated day and just watch a bunch of DC stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of good ones. Okay, well, Last of Us 2, Episode 3?
Let's do it.
Why do we keep calling it Last of Us 2? It's not Last of Us 2. It's The Last of Us. Episode 3. Did you get a title? I didn't get a title. Did they tell us the title before the episodes? Or are we just supposed to look on IMDb?
I think you're just supposed to look on IMDb.
Okay.
Or like when you hit guide on your remote, maybe it'll say there. But
so this was a long one. Hour and 20 with all the next time on and behind the scenes stuff. Pretty long. Rumored to be the best episode of the season. Obviously the jury's still out on that. I could see why people would say that. This is a very nice, touching story that takes liberties with the game. Whereas last week we had shot for shot perfection, and this one is, well, let's flesh something out that was very
only
very
hinted
small.
at. Yeah.
And I didn't even remember that. I remember like him having a partner, but never thinking of it being like his boyfriend or his husband or anything. It was just like I thought it was just two dudes hunkering down together, standing 5 feet apart because he ain't gay. Um,
Yeah, well, I think the in the game there's a letter from Frank kind of
okay.
going like and I forget exactly what it was saying, but it kind of was just like giving Bill a hard time. And so I think in the context of the game, if you don't give Bill that letter, he kind of just like, he talks crap on Frank or whatever, and then
Hmm.
it's just like, all right, well, he's not here anymore, and you just supposedly like they're just buddies.
Hmm.
But then if you give Bill that letter, he kind of reads it, and you can tell it has
Okay.
affected him in a certain
Okay.
way, where you're like, okay, like maybe there was something there more, but it never outright said like
Hmm.
they're together by any means.
Well, this is my favorite part of the game. I think it's just a really fun section of,
Hmm.
you know, avoiding traps and fighting clickers, and it was just I like climbing through the backyards. That was one thing I was disappointed with the episode. It definitely didn't look the same. This was
Yeah.
the show was a little more. It's like northeastern, spread out suburbs, or in the game it's a little more
Close, yeah.
middle class suburbs. But stupid nitpick. That's not even anything to complain about.
Yeah, I think to do the game justice, you would have had to broke up Bill's stuff to like 2 episodes. And if you
Yeah.
do this backstory stuff, it'd be 3 episodes. So
Yeah.
it's just like, well, why don't we just cut all that and just make it a backstory for Bill and Frank?
Yeah, because you don't need a lot of the middle stuff. We already got a representation of that last time. Let's do something fresh this time. So, I for some reason I kind of forgot about this. I thought it was going to be the father son that they meet up with.
Brother,
Oh,
it's
it's
brothers.
older brother, younger brother.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Um,
That's coming, but
yeah.
next
I
episode or
thought
the episode
I
after.
thought it was going to be this because I heard it was one of the best episodes of the season.
Hmm.
So I figured what would be a good emotional and action thing. That's what this is.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I mean, I actually didn't know what to think in terms of what the best episode would be. But then once I saw the previews for next week, last week,
Yeah.
and saw that it was Bill stuff, I was like, this is going to be the best episode. Like nothing in this like brief 20-second teaser made me go like, this is going to like, what is this going to be about?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like some big surprising action sequence where they're like taking down raiders and like there was a raider attack, but it lasted 60 seconds
Yeah.
and you really didn't see a whole lot of it, which was interesting.
I wonder why he went with flamethrowers. You would think just like bullets would be more efficient than having to like set up the gas and little like saws to create the sparks just to catch them on fire. Why not just guns go off?
Well, I imagine, I mean, yes, he had a lot of guns, but guns are tradable and they're resources and
True.
you can hide them and stock them in a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
And they'd be coming for him. It's like, oh, well, maybe they'd get off a round and kill a guy, but then they'd just pick him up and now they have guns. Where like a gas line, they can't, like, they'd have to dig that up and be a whole thing.
It's probably more for the infected than raiders.
Correct. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
There are other monsters besides the people.
Yeah.
Which we didn't get. Like, we only got one, and he was trapped under some rocks at the beginning. We got.
Oh no, we got two. There's the one that tripped up the wire and got shot in the head.
That's true. Yeah.
So, do you feel like it lived up to the hype, or do you think like you liked one of the first 2 episodes better?
I think I liked the last episode better just
Me too.
because it is so close to the game, and clickers are one of the coolest monsters. We got to see that, and as we've established, talking about games in the past, that I'm like dead inside and I don't feel things. So a whole episode about, love between humans, that's not really my bag. It was really nice. It was really sweet, but there's no fungus growing out of their faces. So no, I liked it. It's good. I'm here for the action. I'm here for the monsters, and I'm here for Joel and Ellie. It's good to have these backstories because this is like what Fear the Walking Dead. This is what I wanted. Just a standalone story of what someone does when they're surviving the apocalypse. And this is a nice hour standalone story. So this is really good, and I'm glad it's in here. But I need to see some more bang bang shoot stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel differently. I think when you have an episode like this, it should be used to highlight your main characters, or like this relationship that occurs affects our main characters in a certain way that could play out down the line. And I know the idea of the game itself is kind of like, it's like, what does love do in the face of like all this? Can you like find love? Is love pointless? Is love the greatest force in the world, or whatever it is? And this is a great. I mean, it's up in the zombie apocalypse. And not that that's a bad thing. I liked both these characters. I thought Bill had some funny moments.
I love his little giggle.
When
His
he's eating
little
the
strawberry
strawberries.
giggle, yeah.
And the gun on the table when Tess and Joel visit. I'd like the idea of like them meeting up and just being like couple friends together in this weird way, but like they're also trading. Like it's very world building, and you get some more like, oh, this is Tess and Joel in the early stages, where they're like in their smuggling routine or whatever, but they can still be like people before they're completely like dead inside. So I mean, I think the episode works, and I think it's great to see these little like one-offs of the zombie apocalypse doesn't have to be all dread. Like these people who didn't have much before actually found something greater in the worst possible scenario. And I think the ending with what happens with them is very effective. I just wonder, like, what do these characters add to the main story, other than like, isn't this a nice one-off where it's like it's not about death, it is about the beauty in the world.
Everything is like little hints to Joel of like, stop being an asshole and take care of this kid. Like Tess has said it to him, and now you have these two guys like, look, we had nothing and then we found each other, and that's what you should do, is like find the good in the world and do something.
He saved me and I saved him, and I'm the protector. It's like, save who you can save. And that I get that's what the show is laying out the groundwork for. It's just like, I don't know. It was good. I really liked it. But if you also, I think, took this episode out, I don't know if you'd lose anything when and maybe I'll feel differently when the season's over, and I'll be like, you know what, that third episode really was the best one. Because if that wasn't there, it would have just been like drag after drag after drag. But I also wouldn't be surprised if once the season's over, like I said, if you take that episode out, would you lose a lot?
Yeah, because it would just be, we need to go meet up with my friend. They show up, oh, my friend's dead. Let's get the stuff and go. Like your task is still accomplished, and it's just this whole side story you don't get to hear. Let's see, what else? I like how annoying Ellie is, because even though like I like her character, it was very much like the game. You're just walking in a new area and like, oh wow, look at this thing. Hey, do you know this? And it's just like, I get it from her point of view. She hasn't been outside this, this small city. She's never been in a forest, never been in a car. So all these things are like super fantastical for her. But I like that she's just this little bug, and Joel's just kind of like, shut the fuck up. Let me do my thing. But he hasn't really snapped at her, and it's just he'll answer her questions when necessary.
So he hasn't been a dad in 20 years, but he still has the patience of a dad, which is interesting.
She gets a gun.
She sneaks a gun.
So, obviously there's going to be a point where someone has Joel by the throat, about to get his neck slit, and she's going to save him, and he's going to scold her. I told you shouldn't have it. And then he'll do one of those, thank you.
Here's a machine gun. I want to talk about real quick at the beginning. I always enjoy, I appreciate world building stuff where so they're walking by like a pile of bones, this like field full of open grave, full of dead bodies. And Joel says, well, all these people basically got into trucks because they were told they were going to a safe zone, which that was true. But when they got there, if there was no room, they just killed everybody because, dead people can't get infected. And I was like, oh, that's really scary and fucked up, and, makes sense from a, I guess, science point of view. But I always enjoy that kind of stuff because it makes me think, okay, if something goes down, like, who do you trust? It's like, the government shows up and they're like, hey, it's like, yeah, I'm supposed to trust you.
Yeah.
But then, I could go there and then you could kill me anyway.
Yeah.
And it's,
Or should I just stay behind and risk it on my own?
yeah.
You want to get in that truck because there's just this sense of like, oh, I don't have to worry anymore. Someone else is going to take care of
Yeah.
me.
These guys have machine guns.
Yeah.
I don't have a machine gun. It's like, oh, I have a baby. I need to take this baby somewhere safe. I can't protect this thing on my own, but maybe they can. It's just like everything that can seem like a right answer isn't. And I always really like that kind of stuff because it always makes me kind of think like, okay, what would I do in that situation? Or if a situation occurs, can I think of a better option? And chances are I won't, and you'll just get murdered anyway.
Yeah.
But it's something to think about. And I like when people think of that kind of stuff in shows.
Did you ever watch Black Summer on Netflix? The like super realistic zombie show?
No.
Oh, it's pretty good. I didn't watch season 2, but it really kind of like you're with people, you run into someone else, those initial people you got, boom, they're dead. You're following this person now, and they go on, they meet a couple people, boom, oh, now they're dead. Now you're following someone completely else. It's really, really fast paced, and in the beginning there is that stuff of like the government trying to get people on trucks and people like trying to force their way ahead of the line, and yeah, I think you would like it.
So in other words, I hope the apocalypse or any sort of dystopian type of thing never happens because it's gonna be a real bummer when it does.
Yeah, but I'll take zombie apocalypse over, Terminator robot uprising.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
More than like aliens coming and harvesting us for food. Yeah, I'll take zombies. Even these mushroom zombies,
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna get a dystopia, I want like Handmaid's Tale because like you and I would do all right there. cut that.
No, I mean you have a point. Like with Handmaid's Tale, it's awful. Let's say you lose half the population, and then half of that half is women, and they're subjugated. 25% of the world has it all right. You have The Last of Us. 0.1% of the population doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Everyone's fucked. It's like there's a point to be made to say yes, that's a better outcome, but oh god.
You know what I'd like to see more of? What happens in these worlds with the super wealthy? Like, there's only been a handful of. The idea is just like, oh well, it affected everyone so fast. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy. Like. These zombies affect everyone. Where are you gonna go? And it's like that kind of works, but I still feel like, oh, if you're a billionaire, you have options. But the only thing I think of is not Black Mirror. What's the Love, Death, and Robots?
Yeah,
there was one where
the oil platform, right?
Yeah, the oil platform was the 3 robots who were like going on vacation, like seeing like, oh, these humans were so weird. Like there was an episode just about. Kind of, I guess, like the poor people, but then they went to the oil rig. It was like, oh, the super wealthy came here and they were safe from, all the bad stuff. But then eventually, like, they ran out of resources or whatever, and then their money didn't mean anything, and they just died.
And then there was the super, super wealthy that left on a spaceship, right?
It wasn't. Well, they were cats.
Oh, cats left on a spaceship?
That was the joke. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I can't remember if the cats evolved or what. But yeah, they were just like, oh, but. People or things did survive. They went up into space, but then they take off the helmet. It's like a cat or something, if I remember correctly. Okay. Like humans didn't go, or if humans went, they didn't live, but cats did.
Oh, yeah, because didn't they do like bunkers? Bunkers was one, and then an oil platform.
I don't think it was bunkers. I think they were just touring like Detroit, and they were just like walking around the city.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is
Land of the Dead does the ultra rich in a zombie apocalypse. They just kind of like have this one tall building that they all live in, but it's kind of dumb because they pretend that the world outside is not like that. So they still have like shops, like jewelry shops and clothing stores, and they're going and they're buying diamonds and stuff. Like, okay, I could understand like keeping up the facade for a month or whatever, but after a while, it's like, I don't need this shit. What is a diamond ring gonna fucking do? And they're still like employees and butlers and stuff. It's like a fun idea, but it's not realized.
Yeah, not logical. But I just think I'd like to see normies running into rich people, or like finding a bunker. It's like, oh, the zombie apocalypse has been going on for 20 years, but you've been down here because you just had like $1 billion to spend on like an impenetrable house or whatever it is. Or, what happens to that, bunker in Antarctica or wherever it is that just holds like all the world's
seeds.
plants. Yeah. It's like, are people working there? Are they okay? It's like
I don't think, and I think it's like a Sweden or Norway or something like that.
It just I believe governments have contingency plans for even if it's like scientifically impossible, but if this thing happens, we have a plan for it. It's like, and I'd just be interested to see like, let me see those stories.
Yeah.
Like we always see the stories of like the cop who's, in the zombie apocalypse and he becomes the leader, or like, oh, I was a doctor here. And it's like, I'm like, everyone like just kind of falls back into their roles again, but also shoots zombies. Yeah. Like what happens to the wealthy?
Yeah.
I'd like to see the,
I always wanted to say, they did it in a Resident Evil movie, surprisingly. Like there was a famous actor that gets to be part of the group. Like it just so happens there's like a billboard of his latest movie behind him. Like, oh, you look familiar. And it's like, yeah, that's me. It would have been fun in say like The Walking Dead if it's supposed to be the real world or whatever, and just have some famous person just be there and they're like, oh my God, are you
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. What are you doing? It's like, yeah, I was just, I was not shooting that day and I happened to be able to get away, and just have him play Ryan Reynolds in Walking Dead. It'd be really fun to see like how their stardom and everything left them either not equipped to handle this stuff because they always have their gophers and things do everything for them, or oh, I did a movie where I had to do this, so I learned this skill. So maybe they are better in the apocalypse because they made so many different movies and acquired all these little bits of information. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, if you told me Viggo Mortensen would survive the zombie apocalypse, I would 10,000% believe it. Yeah, because I believe that man could do anything.
Yeah, even if he's naked in a knife fight, he'd survive that apocalypse. Yeah.
And then the zombies would have sex with him because he is a handsome man.
And then it would probably turn him back humans, and that would be the cure.
Oh, yep. Viggo Mortensen's penis is the cure for the zombie apocalypse.
Damn. Writes itself.
Oof. Give me that movie.
So let's get to our main topic. A topic that no one gives a shit about, that we don't even really give a shit about.
Fuck the Oscars. Yeah. They're not important. Awards are dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't matter at all.
No.
And a lot of times it's some artsy movie that wins, and then everyone's just like, how come Top Gun Maverick didn't win? Well, because Top Gun Maverick already won. It made $1 billion.
Yeah, it's not the best movie of the year. Like when it comes to, when you break down the specifics, you can say it's the best movie of the year because you had the most fun or whatever. That's fine, but that's not really what the Academy looks for. They'll throw a couple of bones in there once in a while, like with an Avatar: Way of the Water. That's not the best film of the year, but it is a whole lot of fun. So, yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of great stuff to make the argument that it is worthy of a Best Picture nomination.
I think it did it for the first one, and I think that's it. It doesn't need to be nominated again. Keep it for the special effects and things like that, but Best Picture, meh. So we're going to go over some of the biggies. We're not going to do maybe score or documentary or any of the shorts.
Nope, we're going to do all of them. We'll just rapid fire.
We'll wrap it. Okay, well, let's start bottom and we'll go right to left and we'll zigzag all the way up. How about that? You've marked yours. I put like...
I have not marked anything.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I put on it, I circled what I want to win. Okay. And I put an X on what will win. That's how I was able to keep it. And if they're both the same, just an X and a circle on the same thing.
I'm just going to do S and W. Should and will.
Should and will.
Yep.
Fine, whatever. Okay.
Because I'm going to forget X's and O's and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why I wrote a little key at the top.
I don't have time for all this, Ben. We're getting too into it.
Okay. So let's start with best visual effects. Do you want to go through each nominee for all of them?
No. Here's what we're going to do. Everyone, if you want to look up the nominees,
sure.
Look them up.
Okay. Because I'm sure we'll talk about some of them, but maybe not all of them.
But best visual effects should and will win. It's Avatar.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to write that down right now. S and W.
Okay.
All right. Best
sound. I think... Go ahead. Yeah, you go.
Okay. I'm going to say should win Top Gun Maverick.
Okay. What will win?
Will win All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay. I have it the other way around.
For me, it could go either way.
Yeah.
This is just my guess.
I think Top Gun's not going to win a ton of things. And like I did last year, I kind of spread out my picks for this,
Mhm.
where it's like, well, this will win. It's not going to win Best Picture or Actor, but maybe it'll get writing. And well, this one was also nominated for writing, but it'll probably get director more than anything. So I kind of spread it out. I don't think Top Gun's going to take home a lot, so I'm going to give it sound.
I think it'll be between these two, and then Avatar is the dark horse.
Sure.
Best short live action.
And as we have done every year, shorts, animated shorts, live action shorts, documentary shorts. We mostly don't see these, so it's just, read a book by its cover.
Yeah.
What has a
But
cool
I will
thing?
say, I think last year when we did this, I was like 4 for 4.
I think you were pretty good on it.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Uh,
So best short live action. I said
let me pick because I don't want your answers to affect my answer.
Okay.
I should win is The Irish Goodbye because I like that. That's the one I want to win.
Okay.
Will win. I'm gonna say The Red Suitcase.
Jesus Christ. Same thing, but backward. Irish Goodbye will win. Red Suitcase, I want to win because I love suitcases.
Oh,
I'm biased. I'm a big suitcase head. Best short animated.
All right. I'm gonna say. Now I know I've heard the first title before. Like it's a
The
children's.
Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Yep. I'm gonna say should win My Year of Dicks. Will win The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That's my guess.
That's exactly what I have.
and it's like we're friends or something.
I know, not flipped or anything. But you have a better sense for some of these things. I'll put my things down, and then I'll talk to you, and it'll be like, God damn it, you're right, Steve. I totally see where you're coming from.
I mean, I have no real basis as to...
Yeah.
All right. Best international feature.
I think there's only one.
Yeah, should win and will win All Quiet on the Western Front because it's the only one on this list that's also nominated for Best Picture.
And
so it's a slam dunk.
It is, yeah. I'm getting Parasite flashbacks. All right, best makeup and hairstyling.
This I think is between Elvis and Black Panther, and I think I'm gonna go with should win Black Panther, but will win is Elvis.
Okay. I say I want the Batman to win because that penguin makeup is amazing.
Oh, I forgot about the penguin makeup. Yeah.
But I think the whale will win just because it is the darling. And look at the big spectacle thing, and it's all throughout the whole movie. This big fat suit. Even if it doesn't look as great, it will win.
Yeah, this is the hard part. It's just like, do you give it to one really impressive thing, or do you give it to something like Black Panther Forever, which has like a ton of people in different hairstyles and tons of different makeup? Like, there's
costume Black Panther I can see, but hair, I don't really think hair is their thing.
It's how much do you want to like throw in hair versus makeup, or is it? This one's always tough for me because I don't know exactly where they lean.
Yeah, I don't like that it's combined. Doing someone's hair a certain way and doing an amazing prosthetic are totally different things.
I mean, I think it should just be called best. I mean, I guess that's the problem. It's like if you just say best makeup, it's just like,
well, what about the hair?
But
what best costuming effect?
Yeah. We'll see. All right, best original score. I'm gonna say, this is interesting. John Williams is tough to beat.
Yeah.
In any year.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Hurwitz is also one for La La Land, I believe. And Babylon is, very music heavy. Banshees of Inisherin has, some good Irish tracks to it. Everything Everywhere All at Once is just, great across the. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say should win. I'm going to say should win Everything Everywhere All at Once. Will win Fabelmans.
Okay. I think Fabelmans Fabelmans will win, and I put Babylon is what I want to win. That song is great. I love its main theme. It's fantastic. Original song.
Okay.
These ones I do not know. Like, Lift Me Up from Black Panther. I don't know how that goes. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick. I don't know how I know how all the songs from the original Top Gun go, but the new one, Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away, but Hold My Hand, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is one of those things where like I could see if Top Gun's not going to win anything, this would be something that it would get.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I haven't seen RRR, but that song might be slamming. Uh, I'm gonna take a guess here, and I have no faith in my guess. I'm gonna say should win. This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once because
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the best scenes in the film. But Natu from RRR. I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
will win.
it's the only thing RRR is nominated for, I believe. So I can see them giving it to it. But I'm putting down Top Gun for Will, and I want from Black Panther because I have no idea. So why not?
I mean, "Lift Me Up" is it's a Rihanna, like Rihanna does a song, and
Okay.
it's a solid song. I
Okay.
think it's nice. So I won't be upset if that wins.
Okay. Best production design.
It's like I haven't seen Elvis, so I really can't justify it. It's like I could see Elvis taking. I'm gonna say should win and will win Avatar. Avatar is taking technical stuff.
Okay.
It's between Avatar and All Quiet, I think.
I want Babylon to win. I think it looks really nice.
It does.
And it's that period piece where it's not so far back where I think it's boring, like Jane Eyre or something. But it still has like a really unique look and a ton of costumes. It's a pretty big undertaking for all of its production. Like that, the opening, not the opening, but the big filming multiple movies at one time.
Right.
It's insane. But I think Elvis will take it. This will be the only thing Elvis takes.
Okay.
All right, best film editing. There's only one.
Yep.
Everything Everywhere, All at Once. We
don't even talk about it. Should win and will win everything. And if it doesn't win, I'll be devastated.
That movie is like built,
all editing.
I mean, it's a. You shouldn't say that because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but that movie is like wins you over with its editing and how you compile all that. Like you said, we don't need to talk about it.
I can't imagine what that editor's job was. It must have been insane. All right, best documentary short. I'm gonna say should win. How Do You Measure a Year? Will win. Stranger at the Gate.
Okay, I put Will win Stranger at the Gate, but I put the Martha Mitchell effect. That's who should win. That's a great documentary on that subject. Best documentary feature. I don't think I heard of any of these.
Should win A House Made of Splinters.
Okay.
Will win All the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
God damn it, Steve.
We did it again?
Well, except I said will win All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. I want to win All That Breathes.
Oh, yeah. That was my other pick.
All right. Best costume design. Best costume design, I think this one's pretty tough.
Yeah. I think any other year, I would say Black Panther, because I believe this is the same woman who had already won for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some costumes I'm not in love with in this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to argue the costume design of Namor's people.
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also see this being this is the one I think Elvis could win. So I'm going to say should win Black Panther, but will win as Elvis. But if Babylon also won, I wouldn't be upset.
I said should win Everything Everywhere All at Once, even though it's maybe more subtle. There's just a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah. But I mean, I could see Babylon taking it. I could see Elvis taking it. But I'm going to go with the safe bet. Black Panther will win it because it already has. Best cinematography. What the fuck is Bardo False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths?
Oh, that's a Inarritu movie. I forget what it's about. He's been shopping around.
Okay.
But I know Inarritu wins stuff, but I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I have no clue what it's about. So should win. I mean, Roger Deakins is one of the greatest cinematographers who's ever lived. Done a bunch of great shit. I'm going to say should win All Quiet. You know what? No. I'm going to say should win Empire of Light, even though I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen the trailer. and it works.
Okay.
But will win All Quiet on the Western Front.
I got Will and Want, All Quiet.
Yeah.
All right, best animated feature. This one is tough, except for the Sea Beast. Even though I hear the Sea Beast is good.
Oh no, we're going up.
What?
We're going up.
Oh, wait.
Doing
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. Best actor.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. We can,
Yeah,
if you want to say.
No, it's fine. Best actor. I've only seen one of these movies, and even though I like Colin Farrell's performance, I don't think he should get it.
I think Colin Farrell should. I think Austin Butler will. I
hope not.
I don't think Brendan Fraser has. I think the world wants Brendan Fraser to win.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy if he won. It wouldn't bother me one bit. I think the Academy is going to lean towards Elvis.
Okay. They're going to be like, we don't like this Brendan Fraser. He called out, bad dudes in Hollywood, and we don't like that, so we're not giving him an award.
Sure.
Well, I put Brendan Fraser for Will and Want, even though I haven't seen it. He's going to be the Hollywood darling of that night. So what about supporting actor?
This one's easy. Should and will win Kiwi Kwan.
Yeah. Yep. And
the only thing I'm so sure about in terms of where my passion for, if there's one person who wins, I want it to be this person.
Yeah. But I've heard Brian Tyree Henry is really good.
I mean, I love Brian Tyree Henry.
I put him as my want just because I'd love to see someone from Atlanta. Or has Donald Glover? What if he? No, he won for Atlanta.
Yeah, Donald Glover's won a bunch of awards except for movie stuff.
Not an Oscar. Okay, so it'd be nice to see someone from that show do it. So I'll put my I'll raise my flag for him. But no, it's going to be Everything Everywhere all at once. All right, best actress.
So, from what I can tell, this is a battle between one of the greats, Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, but it's so
for Tar, and Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
And why I don't believe Michelle Yeoh is better than Cate Blanchett, probably even in this movie. I think she's just kind of got the momentum to take it.
Yep.
So I think should win Cate Blanchett, will win. It's going to be Michelle Yeoh.
Okay. I just put both for Michelle Yeoh. And isn't it funny that Ana de Armas is up for Blonde, even though that is considered like one of the worst movies of last year?
Yeah, but everyone that I saw said like she's fantastic in it, but the movie's hot garbage.
But I could just see the Academy saying, "Why even? Let's not even look at it. Let's."
No, but
but that's good.
Credit, that's the
good.
point. You should base it on the thing you're judging, not the movie itself. Unless it's Best Picture, then judge it on that.
Yeah.
Best Supporting Actress. So this. Ooh.
Yeah.
This one's tough.
Yeah.
This could go different way. I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis has a shot. I think she's definitely fifth on the list. I think Carrie Condon has a very good shot, and I think Angela Bassett kind of has a good shot too. There's been a lot of talk about Angela Bassett.
She won the Golden Globe, so I don't think she'll win it.
I don't think she'll win it now. I think Carrie Condon's gonna win it.
Okay.
But I want Hong Chow to win it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say should win Hong Chow, will win Carrie Condon. But I'd also be very happy if Stephanie Sue won.
I want Carrie Condon, but I think Jamie Lee Curtis will take it. Because, not because I necessarily think this performance is amazing. It's good. I really like her in it. But I've seen a lot of talk of how she's never won anything before. And so this can be kind of a legacy thing.
I haven't heard of... I mean, that tracks. It's like a participation award. Sure. But, I mean, I think that's counterintuitive. And it's like, she's won by being a film icon. It's Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't think she needs an Oscar.
Doesn't need it. Yeah, there's tons of people who've never won anything that we consider great. But I'm just going out on a limb. It's going to be my wild horse, not wild card, but
dark horse.
Dark horse.
Yeah.
And if she wins, she better go up and accept it with hot dog fingers. All right, now best animated feature. This one is tough. Like Puss in Boots has gotten a lot of heat at the end of the year. I think they only really released it so they could get it nominated. And you would think, well, just release it this year. But you have like Spider-Verse and other things coming out. So I don't think it's going to win, though, because I don't think it did as well. I think Turning Red, just because it's Disney, it will win it. It'll take it. But I'd like to see Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Yeah, I will say should win Marcel, and should win, and then will win. I'm gonna say Pinocchio.
Yeah, I was torn because Pinocchio is more not more modern, but more recent. It's on people's minds. Where Turning Red, people could go, "Oh yeah, that was that year, huh?" But it's Disney, and it's not smart to vote against Disney.
Right.
All right, we're getting to the final four.
Final four: best original screenplay. I think there's only one real answer here, and I think should win. And no, I'm gonna say should win and will win Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I want that to win, but I think this is what Tar will take.
No. Well, I think this is between Banshees and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think Tar has like the Oscar push to really win I mean, maybe if it wins anything, it's going to be actress for Cate Blanchett and not win anything else.
Okay.
So I think Banshees could win this one, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay. Adapted screenplay. Which Glass Onion is adapted from what?
I think because it's a sequel. It's a pre-established property, so it's adapted from characters that already exist.
Really?
I think that kind of.
I mean, I guess like that's why Top Gun would be there as well, because it's not like they made Top Gun and then had a series of Top Gun books and then.
Yeah, what makes it original is
There's no sequels.
There's the story and these characters haven't existed until now.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, sequels automatically become adapted because you're adapting previously established content.
Okay, I don't quite agree with that, but
it's sketchy, but
that's weird.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say should win All Quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Will win. I'm gonna say. Nah.
Mine is Will and Want is both All Quiet.
Yeah,
I think the only other one would be Women Talking. Would be the only other.
Oh yeah, Women Talking I think has a very good shot. Oof, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care enough.
Best Director. Or should we say directors?
Directors. This is a very strange category.
Yeah.
I think I could totally see Spielberg winning, even though he's made much stronger films than this.
I've actually heard that there are rumors that he already knows he's won, and what was that? But yeah, the rumor is that he already knows, and it's a shoo-in. But I don't know if he won because of director or that the movie won as Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think. If Steven won, I'd be okay with it because it's a very personal project to him. It's clearly a Steven Spielberg film, and Steven Spielberg doesn't really make bad stuff. And I think it's speaks to Oscar voters in terms of like, hey, if the Oscar voters are generally an older crowd, it's like, oh, this movie's about movies. It's about a time gone by. It's about a lot of stuff. So I think it hits a lot of demographics that I think people can go like, it's Steven fucking Spielberg. So I'll say he will win.
Okay.
But should win the Daniels, man.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Daniels made something we've never seen before.
Yeah, I think if you looked at all these movies, take out the Daniels and Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, any of those directors could probably make any of those movies, and they would be perfectly fine. But I don't think any of those directors could make Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I think Spielberg could have a shot because he's got a creative, kind of toony mind. But would it be anywhere as good? No way.
Nah,
he's got a shot
because
he's the GOAT. but not a great shot.
Yeah. So, but I put the Daniels for will and want, just because I really, really, really want them to win, and I think there's a good chance because when it comes to Best Picture, it's going to The Fabelmans. I want Everything Everywhere All at Once, but The Fabelmans will win, and I think this will be the only award it wins, and there will be hubbub of it didn't win fucking shit anywhere, but it's the best movie, one of those things.
Yeah, I mean that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes down to, it's always the big four. It's picture, director, whichever screenplay the movie happens to be in, and cinematography. Those are the big four, not in the acting category.
God, I've only seen half of these.
Yeah, so
I do want to see Triangle of Sadness. I hear that's really great.
All right, for my Best Picture, should win Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But will win, that's where it gets tricky because it could be that I think Banshees is a dark horse, and it's between Everything and Fablemans. I can't see the Academy going with Everything Everywhere All at Once because of how weird it is.
Yeah.
So I think the only choice they can really pick is the Fablemans because it's got that classical movie feel. Like this is the thing that's going to be in like Criterion collections, and it's got all the right Oscar pieces to it.
Sure,
where like,
but so does Tar, so does Women Talking, so does All Quiet on the Western Front, so does Banshees of Inisherin.
But what those movies don't have, well, Banshees maybe, but what the other movies don't have is no one saw Women Talking, no one saw Triangle of Sadness, no one saw Tar. Like plenty of people saw Fablemans,
but like Moonlight won. Not a lot of people saw Moonlight.
Yeah, but I think
Spotlight.
Well, no, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think Moonlight had the right push because that was like one of the two front runners that year between that and La La Land. Like, yeah, it didn't make as much money as other stuff on that list, but I think plenty of people saw Moonlight, where like no one is seeing Tar or Triangle of Sadness.
I mean, not a lot of people are saying Fablemans either. That movie made very little money.
There's also other factors to that. We're living in a post-pandemic world as well.
Didn't stop Top Gun from making $1 billion. So
I don't think you can compare.
Yeah, nope.
I'm not having this argument with you.
Well, like our picks are very close. So this year we'll actually have a pretty good back and forth. So what are we counting as actual points? What we said will win or what we want to win? Or do we do multiple points? Like if we said this will win and it does, you get 3 points. You wanted it to win and it wins, you get 1 point. Or we just count one or the other.
I think you only count the will points.
Okay.
It will win. If you think this will win and it does, then you get a point.
Okay.
Because should is just wishful thinking. It's like
That's
it's
true.
great if it does, but if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Okay.
But I think you only count points of will win. You got it correct.
Can we keep these here so I don't forget them?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. When are the Oscars? Does it say at the bottom there?
March 12th.
March 12th. Cool. Well, what are we doing next week? What? Oh, is it just Magic Mike?
Echo. What movie comes out next week?
Here are a few upcoming movies. Your Place or Mine. Somebody I Used to Know. Autobiography. Facing the Laughter. Mini Pearl. And Husera, The Bone Woman.
All right, I'll just.
I'm pretty sure it's
If it's Magic Mike, great, because I can't wait to see Magic Mike.
maybe it's not. Maybe that's because
I
we're
think,
still in.
I think Magic Mike is February 12th or something.
Okay, so it's not this weekend. It's the weekend after, and then it's Ant-Man, and then it's Cocaine Bear.
So what's this?
But
coming?
this week. Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, looks like we're talking, and I feel like that's a movie we could probably do some deep dives.
Oh yeah,
Have some real opinions about.
This is a movie I will have a notebook out, scribbling little things because you never know with an M. Night movie. Predictions? What's your prediction? What's the big thing? What are they trying to stop?
What's the big twist?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say the apocalypse does happen, but the little girl is the one who's bringing it on. She doesn't realize she's doing it.
Okay.
There's gonna be something where it's just like, her fathers are in danger, and her being upset is what's causing the destruction, and so that'll be the thing.
Like
It's
her emotions, if they go out of control, she can destroy things.
yeah, because she's clearly adopted.
Uh-huh.
She's got some connection to something, and like these people, maybe they also have like maybe it's like a superpower thing. Like
Okay.
this little girl's kind of like Dark Phoenix kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then these people, for whatever reason, they know something's going on,
Mhm.
and so like they have a vision, or it's like we came here to stop the apocalypse, and they don't know it's her, but they're just like we need you to die or whatever it is, or maybe they're from the future and they've seen the apocalypse.
Yeah.
But either way, like I think this little girl somehow is the one who's causing it or will cause it, and that's gonna be the
Okay.
twist.
I pretty much agree. I think there are going to be people who've gotten a message from the future or a higher power, and they've all had to find each other because they've all had the same message, and they have to make sure this girl dies, but they can't do it on their own. One of the fathers has to kill the girl for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the whole thing is. So if that is the case, do they kill the girl and save the world? Or do they spare the girl and the apocalypse happens?
Yeah, I would think they spare the girl. The apocalypse happens.
Yeah, probably.
Because I'm guessing the whole idea of the movie is just like, in order to save the world, do you destroy your world? Because it's like, well, this family, this is the world I care about. I don't care about the 8 billion people on the planet. I care about the two other people in this room.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to show the end of a movie where you go, let's kill the girl. You do, and go, well, when does the apocalypse happen? Oh, if it does still happen, like 20 years from now, and then what? You just end it there? Well, I hope we did the right thing. Roll credits, or do you flash forward? So I think just from a storytelling standpoint, you have to do we can't do this. I'm killing you, Dave Bautista. I'm killing you, Ron Weasley. And
Two other actresses.
and then they go like, they were crazy people. And then they hear a rumbling and they see this tidal wave coming over the forest line or something. Gulp. And then cut to black.
And then it was all a Black Mirror simulation.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Real quick, what's M. Night's role in this film?
Oh. He's the guy sending the transmission back. He'll be in some like weird space pod with a weird like colander on his head, like eat marp marp, eat mama, and he'll just make weird sounds, and you'll see like text.
Wait, one more time. What was it like?
Eat marp marp.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and he'll be in a silly little green screen space station sending the message with a big red button that he pushes, and you see a laser go down to Earth. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think. Now, this is from the trailer I believe you saw, so you haven't seen...
Okay, I only saw the first trailer.
Yeah, and even if I say it, I don't think it's
okay.
spoilery. There's a quick shot of one of the husbands in like a church, and just his face. I think M. Night will be the pastor at that church.
Okay. And it'll probably be like, so not to draw... focus on him, it'll be in a confessional. The door will slide. You'll see M. Night through the screen.
Oh,
nice. What do you have to confess, my son? And everyone will be like, that's M. Night. Oh, that's M. Night. I destroyed the world. Yeah. Oh, that's a good pick. My second one is gas station attendant. On their way to the cabin, they're going to have to stop somewhere, and they'll just be like, hey, fill it up. And he's like, yes, sir.
Oh, are you going to the old Jenkins place, that cabin? You don't want to go... Lots of bad stuff of that hill.
Lots of time travelers and stuff. Might have to kill your own daughter.
Wait, is that a normal thing? Happens right?
Only in that cabin.
More than you'd think.
Okay, well, yeah. What are your theories on Knock at the Cabin? And are you still going out for M. Night, or have you written him off completely? Hit us up at WRPL Podcast gmail.com or on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve. And the twist is it's not a cabin, it's a lodge.
Oh, shit.
There you go.
All right. Good night.
Good guy. Good guy. Goodbye.
Good guy. I was thinking, I'm like, I think we need a better sign off. Just good night is boring. And I only say it because it's nighttime every time we record. People aren't necessarily
And as
listening.
always, consume.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm Ben. I'm Steve.
Keep on consuming.
Keep on. I'm cutting all this anyways. Unless you wanna.
No, I got nothing.
As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Keep consuming.
Fuck. Yep, Viggo Mortensen's penis is the cure for the zombie apocalypse.